All right, so get ready, because today we're diving deep into how AI is actually reshaping evolution.
Wow, that's a big one.
It is. It is. You send over this essay, Beyond Biology, how AI is reshaping evolution. And it's really got me thinking about evolution in ways I never even considered before.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? We tend to think of evolution, in purely biological terms, like Darwin, survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
Darwin's theory of natural selection.
Yeah.
That's fundamental, obviously, to understanding how life on Earth has changed over time. But AI is adding like a whole new layer to that.
I was just going to say that as you were talking, it's like AI isn't just a tool to observe evolution anymore.
Right.
It's like it's becoming an active participant
Exactly.
in the process, which I thought was so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, we're using AI to understand evolution, right? So we're building these simulations to model things like how new species emerge. But then at the same time, we're designing AI using principles borrowed from evolution.
It's a feedback loop.
Like genetic algorithms, right?
Right.
Those algorithms use, processes like selection and mutation to evolve solutions to complex problems.
Yeah.
It's like mimicking natural selection,
Right.
but in the digital environment.
Yeah, and that was one of the points in the essay that I found so fascinating, is that it's this weird feedback loop.
Yeah.
Where it's like, is AI learning from evolution, and then evolution is in turn being influenced by AI?
It's a really interesting concept, and I think it's a concept with pretty far-reaching implications.
Yeah.
Especially when you start thinking about fields like evolutionary biology.
Right.
Your essay highlights how AI is really transforming research. In this area, it's giving scientists these incredibly powerful new tools to explore questions that were, previously incredibly difficult.
Right.
If not impossible.
Possible to study, yeah.
To study, yeah.
I think the essay used the example of speciation.
Yeah.
Like how new species arise.
Yeah.
Traditionally, that has been so difficult to observe directly because it happens over such vast timescales.
Yeah, you can't just sit around.
Right, exactly.
Watch it happen.
You can't be like, oh, yeah, in a few million years.
Exactly.
We'll see, yeah. But with AI, researchers can create these simulations that model those processes. So it's like you're fast-forwarding.
It's like fast-forwarding, yeah.
Evolution in a virtual world.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I thought was so cool.
But it goes beyond, just those large-scale evolutionary events.
Right.
AI is also being used to analyze these massive data sets of genomic information, helping researchers identify patterns, predict evolutionary outcomes, and even get into like the world of protein folding, which is like super important for understanding how genes actually function.
Yeah, it's not just about mapping the genome, right? It's like, what is that code saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And then how can we use that information to like predict how life might evolve?
Exactly.
The essay also mentioned artificial life, or a life. And I got to say, that one, it kind of sounds like sci-fi to me.
Yeah, it does a little bit, doesn't it?
It does, it does.
But it's really a fascinating area of research that uses these computational models to explore lifelike behaviors in artificial systems.
Okay.
So imagine like creating digital organisms within a computer and then just observing how they evolve and interact and even like exhibit behaviors that we associate with living systems.
I have to admit, when I was reading that part, I was picturing...
like little creatures running around?
Yes, like little digital creatures on my screen, like a virtual pet.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's a lot more sophisticated than that.
It is. It is. It's not necessarily about those, visual representations.
Okay.
But about replicating like the underlying processes of life.
Yeah.
One of the kind of classic examples is like simulating flocking behavior in birds.
Right.
Like each individual bird is following a simple set of rules. But then when you have a large number of them together, you get these incredibly complex, coordinated patterns that emerge.
Yeah. So it's amazing to think that complexity can come from these like simple rules.
It is.
And a life seems to be a way to like explore those fundamental principles.
Yeah.
The essay also discusses evolutionary algorithms.
Yes.
Which I understand are a key part of that.
They are, yeah. They're basically problem-solving techniques.
Okay.
that are like directly inspired by natural selection. So you can kind of think of them as these problem-solving machines that use these processes like, selection, crossover, mutation to evolve optimal solutions.
So could you give me like an example? I'm having trouble picturing like how that would work like in a real-world application.
Yeah. So let's say you're an engineer.
Okay.
You're tasked with designing a bridge. And this bridge needs to withstand specific loads, environmental conditions. You could use a genetic algorithm to represent different bridge designs as like chromosomes.
So each chromosome would be a different design.
Each chromosome is a different design for the bridge.
Gotcha.
And then the algorithm would subject these designs to a virtual environment. Selecting the ones that perform the best under the given constraints.
Under the constraints, right.
And then those successful designs would then reproduce, combining their features.
So it's like survival of the fittest, but
it is.
It's bridge designs.
It is survival of the fittest bridge designs, and then it introduces like random mutations to create a new generation of designs.
So over like many generations, you would end up with a bridge that's like super efficient and strong.
Exactly. And this approach isn't limited to engineering. Evolutionary algorithms are being used in like a ton of different fields.
I can imagine.
Everything from, optimizing financial portfolios to composing music. It's really remarkable.
That's so cool.
To see how these principles from biological evolution can be applied to these completely different problems.
Yeah. So far we've been talking about how AI is impacting evolution in this kind of broader, more theoretical sense. But your essay also gets into how AI is directly shaping human evolution.
It is, yes.
Which I think is where things get really interesting.
It is fascinating to think about how AI and human evolution are becoming so intertwined. We've talked about how AI is being used to study evolution, but its influence goes like even deeper than that. It's already starting to change our cognitive functions, our behaviors, and even our social interactions.
The thing that stood out to me in the essay was AI-powered neurotechnology and brain-computer interfaces.
It
sounds so sci-fi, but it's like happening now.
I know. It really is incredible. Like we're talking about technology that is literally blurring the line between our brains and machines. Imagine a future where you can just control computers. Or prosthetic limbs with your thoughts.
It's incredible.
It's wild.
But it also makes you kind of question, like, what does it mean to be human?
Are we becoming more machine-like? It's a question that I think we need to really consider carefully as these technologies continue to advance.
But it's not just those things either,
not at all.
It's like you think about the influence of AI algorithms on social media. And it's like they're shaping the information that we consume. And they might even be influencing our opinions and how we interact with each other.
It's true. It's almost as if AI is like subtly shaping our thoughts and our behaviors.
And, speaking of shaping humanity, the essay talks about the transhumanist movement, which advocates for using technology to enhance human capabilities.
It's like, where do we draw the line?
What does it even mean to be human?
Exactly. It's a really profound question about, the future of our species. They envision this future where we can enhance our cognitive abilities, overcome disease, potentially even extend our lifespan.
The essay was talking about how there are these potential benefits, but obviously there are ethical challenges that come along with it.
Of course.
I mean, you could have AI-driven enhancements that like exacerbate existing social inequalities.
Absolutely.
Like what if it's only accessible to the wealthy or whatever?
It's a huge concern.
So then it becomes this like tool of the elite, like further.
Exactly. And there are even deeper questions, about like, what does it mean to be human? If we start enhancing ourselves with technology, like where's the line?
Where's the line?
At what point do we stop being human?
Right.
It's a big question.
Yeah, those are questions that we as a society are going to have to confront. As AI keeps developing.
Absolutely.
And then the essay gets into some pretty mind-blowing, like, future scenarios. Where AI's influence on evolution just becomes even more profound. The thing that was really interesting to me was symbiotic evolution.
Symbiotic evolution is fascinating.
Like, what does that even mean?
So imagine a future where humans and AI systems are basically evolving together.
Okay.
They form this tightly integrated partnership.
Right.
And the AI is augmenting our cognitive abilities.
Right.
So helping us process information faster.
Right.
Make decisions more efficiently.
Yeah.
Solve problems.
So it's not AI replacing humans.
Right.
It's AI like becoming
It's like an extension.
an extension of our minds.
Yeah, of our minds. Yeah.
And that raises some questions, right?
Of course.
About autonomy and control.
Yeah, like would we still even be us
Exactly.
if our thoughts are so intertwined with AI?
Yeah, it really touches on like
The big question.
the very essence of what it means to be human.
Right. And then the essay also explores like this other scenario, which is the emergence of artificial superintelligence.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where AI surpasses
Right. It surpasses human intelligence.
human intelligence, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that we see in sci-fi all the time.
Yeah, we do.
What would happen
Right.
if we created an intelligence that was far superior
Yeah.
to our own?
Like, would it be benevolent?
Right.
Or would it see us as a threat?
Right. Would it be like, oh, you guys are kind of dumb. We're just going to know about you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a fascinating question.
It's a scary question.
It is a little bit scary. It's impossible to say for sure. And I think that's what makes it both, really exhilarating, but also terrifying. Some experts think that super intelligent AI could lead to this, unprecedented period of technological advancement.
Right.
It could solve problems that we could never solve on our own.
Yeah.
But then other experts warn about the potential dangers of creating something that we can't control. So it's
the ultimate Pandora's box.
It is. It is. Like, are we handing over the reins of evolution
to something we don't understand?
To something we might not even be able to comprehend.
Yeah.
I know.
And then the essay talks about something even more radical.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the possibility of post-biological evolution.
Right. Post-biological evolution. Like, what does that even mean?
Right.
It's wild.
What does that mean? So we're talking about evolution that
could potentially, transcend biological constraints altogether.
And so no more biology, no more...
It's a really radical idea.
And no more humans as we know them.
Right, but some theorists propose that we could one day, transfer our minds, our consciousness into, a digital realm.
So, upload our brains to computers.
Yeah, essentially.
And then just exist as, digital beings in a virtual world.
It's one possibility.
Wow. So then you've got all these scenarios.
You do.
And they're all, it's wow, really thought-provoking.
Yeah.
I think you really question your understanding of, life.
Of everything.
And evolution and consciousness itself.
It really is, yeah.
But they all seem to rely on this concept of the singularity.
They do.
Which is, again, AI surpassing human intelligence.
Right, that tipping point.
The tipping point, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's we've been talking about all these crazy mind-bending concepts.
Oh, right.
Symbiotic evolution, superintelligence, consciousness existing in a digital realm.
Yeah.
And it seems like this idea of the singularity, this point where AI surpasses human intelligence, is kind of like this pivotal concept when you think about the future of evolution.
Yeah, the singularity is often, portrayed as this point of no return, this moment where technological growth is just so rapid.
That it's impossible to predict what will happen.
Yeah, we just don't know.
It's a little daunting.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's scary. It's
it's both.
All those things at once. But it does seem like even if we can't predict the future, we do have this responsibility to try and shape it.
We do.
Right, to steer AI development in a direction that benefits humanity.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
So then the question is, where do we start?
Right. Where do we even begin?
One of the things we need to be thinking about as we kind of navigate this uncharted territory.
Well, I think one of the, most crucial areas is governance and regulation.
Okay.
Right? How do we actually ensure that AI development is guided by ethical principles?
Right.
A commitment to, the common good.
Yeah.
We need these robust frameworks,
right.
Both national and international.
We deal with all the challenges.
To deal with the issues like safety, transparency, accountability.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a pretty complex.
It's incredibly complex.
Challenge because AI is developing so rapidly.
Yeah, it is. And it's being applied in so many different areas.
Right.
It's hard to keep up, but it's essential.
It is.
We can't just let AI develop unchecked, you know?
Right.
We need to establish these guidelines,
Right.
regulations that make sure that it's used for good.
And not for evil.
And not for evil, yeah.
So it's about finding that balance.
It is.
Between fostering innovation and safeguarding against risk.
Absolutely.
Right.
And this requires collaboration, between governments, researchers, industry leaders, and the public.
You're talking about a lot of people.
It takes a village.
Yeah.
To ensure that AI is developed.
Right. Used in a way that
benefits all of humanity.
Benefits everybody, not just a select group.
Exactly.
You mentioned the need for diverse perspectives.
Yes.
And that made me think about what the essay was saying about equity and access.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about all these cool ways AI could enhance human capabilities.
Right.
But what if only a select few have access to that?
Yeah, it's a really critical concern.
Right.
We need to ensure that the benefits of AI are distributed equitably.
Yeah.
And that means addressing those existing social and economic disparities.
Right, because if we don't, it just further exacerbates those divides.
It will.
So it seems like we're talking about kind of a fundamental shift.
I think we are.
In how we think about technology and its role in society.
Yeah, I think we need to move beyond this idea that technology is simply a tool.
Right.
And really recognize that it has this profound impact.
It's more than a tool.
It's more than a tool on our lives, our culture, our evolution.
Yeah. And the essay also talked about the importance of education.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting.
That's crucial.
We need to actually equip people with the knowledge and skills.
We do.
To thrive in a world where AI is just becoming more integrated.
Absolutely. We need to foster digital literacy.
Yeah.
Critical thinking, adaptability.
It's not just about the technical skills.
No.
It's about understanding AI.
Yeah. Its capabilities, its limitations, its potential impact on society.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
In this deep dive.
A lot of ground.
From theoretical foundations of AI and evolution to these mind-blowing future scenarios.
Yeah.
It's clear that we're on the cusp of something really extraordinary.
It does feel that way.
So as we kind of wrap things up, what's the one key takeaway you want listeners to walk away with?
I think the most important message is that the future isn't predetermined.
Okay.
It's a future that we're actively shaping through our actions, our choices, our values.
So we're not just passive passengers.
No, we're not.
We have agency.
We do. We have the power to harness the potential of AI to create a future that benefits all of humanity.
It's a call to action.
It is.
It's a reminder that we all have a role to play in shaping this future.
Absolutely. We need to engage in those discussions.
Yeah.
Demand ethical and responsible development.
Yeah.
And work together to create a future where AI enhances our lives, preserves our humanity, and guides our evolution on a positive and sustainable path.
That's a great note to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
On this deep dive, and until next time.